Hi, my name is Bryn Kovalik. Please mind my voice. I have a cold. This PowerPoint presentation is going to be on transition plans. First, we will discuss the 5 steps to a successful transition plan. When a student turns the age of 14 in an autistic support school or classroom, they are required to have a transition plan set in place. First, they will like to identify the transition goals. What would the student like to be? What would the student need help with? Breaking down the actual goals that would help the student be successful in a independent world. Next, you would link the post-secondary goals with the IEP goals. If their goal was to work in a grocery store, one of the academic goals with the IEP goals could be doing math problems with money, counting items, doing giving change, different real world situations linked to their IEP goals. The next step would be to troubleshoot and adjust the transition and IEP goals. First, we would see if it's successful. If can the IEP goals match with the post-secondary goals to make sure that they are achievable for the student and measurable. We would provide opportunities to teach the skills. Is the goal achievable? Is the goal able to be taught in a classroom like that we have? And the last step to a successful transition plan would be to evaluate the progress. Is the student making progress with this goal? Do we need to redo it? Do we need to change something in it to help them make it more achievable for their specific goal? The next, importance of education, employment, and independent living skills. Why should we have this as a big part of a transition plan? Education is the most important aspect in a student's career. It's giving them the knowledge they can to be successful out in the community. Employment, we would like everybody at some point in their life, whether they have autism or a special need, to be working, to having a career, just to be like everybody else. Just because they have a diagnosis doesn't mean that they shouldn't have a job. The last is independent living skills. They should be able to be taught the skills to live by themselves. Whether or not it's achievable or not, some of them might need a lot of care and they need to live with somebody. But these are the things that are very important for students to have a bigger picture of for when they get out and when they're older, to get to that point of living by themselves and taking care of themselves. Why? Because that's what everybody does. That's what everybody is able to do, and we need to make these goals achievable. Who is involved? The families involved, the IEP team, all the specialists, all the therapists, and they all work together. There's outside resources. There are school districts that come in together in this IEP meeting to make this all work together. The team input. Everybody has a different aspect of input. A parent's perspective is a lot different than a teacher's perspective and then a therapist's perspective. When they all come together, they are putting the strengths and the needs of the student, and they know what works best for that student. The end goal is to help that student link post-secondary goals to independent living skills in their career after high school, to make them successful and to be able to be confident in doing these things on their own. The age of majority varies by state, but most states define it between the age of 18 to 21. The age of majority is the legally defined age a person is to be considered an adult. In special education, it's defined as the age of 21. That's when a student is allowed to be attending a special education school up to. But every state does have their own restrictions. There are several age-appropriate transition assessments. One my school likes to use is a job assessment, an interest survey, which has the students. We have 2 different ones. So for the nonverbal students, we have pictures. We have which job would you prefer? And it shows them pictures of jobs. And then after they go through so many, it says what type of job they would be good at. The other job asks questions. The other survey, asks questions. And it determines what their skill level would be for that specific job. These are just a list of different assessments that are appropriate for assessments, just to see what interests the student, what they like to do, and even getting a bit from their parents to see what they think that they would like to do as well. There's several outside services and agencies. One our school uses is called OVR. It is a group that comes into all of our IEP meetings after the student is 14, and we start talking about transition services, and we start talking about what's the next step to prepare that student for life outside of school. These are some other ones that are located in Pennsylvania. Adult communities. There's a lot of adult community autism programs. There's a lot of different projects and stuff that help aid students to be more independent in the outside world. Here are some surveys that anybody is able to use to see what happens after graduation, what type of things that they would be interested in. Would they like to see something more? Would they like to be in a certain type of trade? And that's pretty much all about the transition services. I hope you like the PowerPoint. Thanks.